Who did what and
You want-
why?
Okay, Tom Kravis, our next speaker.
Who did what?
My name is Tom Kravis. I live at 45080 Main Street, Mendocino, California. I'd like to speak briefly about the absence of a need or demand for additional VSFs in Mendocino and the cumulative impacts of adding overnight accommodations. I was interested in hearing your assistant CEO mention forensic planning, and I did a little bit of forensic planning myself. I dug back on the 1989 California Coastal Commission findings. In that findings, the California Commission found that the county was obligated to complete a study to determine, quote, how many, if any, additional visitor serving facilities are appropriate, and determine a way of fairly allocating the additional units to the various existing and proposed facilities, rather than just approve such requests on a first-come, first basis, without considering the cumulative impact of future such requests. The Commission further stated, to permit such units to occur is not a fair way, but is an arbitrary and capricious way that is inherently unfair. The report went on, when counties seek to amend such plans piece by piece, such amendments are the antithesis of planning. I think it's appropriate to do some forensic mining here and remember what the Commission said back in 1999, because there's some questions as to what the intent of the Commission was and has been during this period of time. I also want to talk about the cumulative impact. I appeared before this board almost 2 decades ago, and the only person that probably remembers it is Frank Lynch, because he was not my maverick, he was my sidekick, and he was causing me to spend a lot of money on an EIR for a project in Mendocino where we sought to add 33 additional units. I have to tell you that many of the people here today that are speaking against adding units were people who fought against me. The very people, just a few minutes ago, they were fighting my project and this project because they felt that there were cumulative impacts that needed to be mitigated and somehow addressed. In the process of doing some forensic planning, mining last night, I found a copy of the traffic analysis that I submitted in connection with this project in December 1989, which concluded, this is a conclusion of Walt Labs and Associates almost 2 decades ago, and this is what they said in this certified EIR plan that Frank confirms was accepted by the county. Quote, the traffic volumes on Highway 1 will reach capacity in 10 years due to external influences regardless of local plan use policies. The number of overnight accommodations that could be built before the capacity of Highway 1 is reached is 0. So this is 20 years later, and the county has already approved and accepted a certified EIR that I happen to pay for, which says that the capacity is 0. And that project was never approved. I jumped through the appropriate hoops, and it didn't happen, and that's, in many ways, that's okay, because we followed the rules and we did the EIR, and the townspeople, by the way, had 2 or 3 meetings in town. It was exhaustively studied locally and here in Ukiah, and the process was fair, and I happen to lose that. The last point I wish to make is that there is no demand for additional visitor serving facilities. The Marshall marketing study was recently released by MCLA. It was a marketing plan that was done funded by MCLA, and it said in November of 2008 that about 76% occupancy is experienced year-round in the county. The data from the largest 2 hotels, which I referenced when I was here a couple of weeks ago, from the Hill House and the Mendocino Hotel, is that our occupancy is about 46%. So based on the MCLA studies of about 45 to 50%, published data in the real estate sections advertising inns for sale of 60%, there are about 30 or 40,000 unoccupied room nights every year in the town of Mendocino, and to add additional units does not make any sense. So I wish you would consider what the California Commission said in 1999 regarding the unfair possible practices, and I think Supervisor Delbar mentioned how it might expose the board to liability, but I think by considering those of us in town who have followed the rules and who now have facing us unfair practices because people are leasing units that have not gone through these hoops, I think that the county also has to consider the potential liability. And some of the innkeepers in town have obtained information and counsel from the